It usually takes some time for me to come up, but I want to go ahead and I wanted to talk about this Lomachenko fight. Well, not fight, but retirement. My bad. Thinking about something else real quick. Yeah, man. Lomachenko officially retires today. Comes out with a video and basically explain why he's retiring. It's a wild situation right now. Not too surprised, but this late in the game, because they said he was gonna have a decision by June. I forgot about that. Yeah, they said they was gonna have a decision by June. Forgot about that. Yeah, I absolutely forgot about that. But yeah, man, Lomachenko hangs it up today. Um, I felt like if it was gonna be a situation where he doesn't have to go to multiple places to get the belts, if it's like only two people he had to go to get the belts, it would have probably happened. But at 135, it's not much action going on right now, really, since as far as with unifications. So a guy like Lomachenko, what's going on, Jordan? What's up, man? Yeah, Lomachenko, he hung it up today. He's officially hung it up. He put a video out. It's on the channel. It's in Ukrainian, but he put a video out an hour ago announcing his retirement. This was literally an hour ago, and the top rank had a plan. Yeah, 135 can finally stretch out a little bit, bro. I don't have to wait on nobody. That's why the Miritai versus Keyshawn Davis fight is very realistic. If he ends up getting the belt, which it looks like he will now because Loma stepping down. But yeah, he officially retired, man. It's time for him to go ahead and hang it up, I guess. He already knew that it was going to be a difficult role with Keyshawn Davis and a lot of those guys down there. A lot of those guys is power punchers. And in Loma's career, the closest power puncher he came to was like Keyshawn. No, not Keyshawn, but Tiafimo. My bad. Closest power puncher he came to was Keyshawn Davis. After that, not Keyshawn. They keep saying Keyshawn because in my mind now I'm thinking Keyshawn and Miritai. Keyshawn has officially replaced Lomachenko. That's why I keep saying Keyshawn. He's gonna replace Lomachenko. I think the way that Bob Arum's been moving Keyshawn, he's pressing the gas on hurry up and getting him in the ring with De Los Santos. He's already moving, and the way he's been moving with Miritai, you could tell that Lomachenko was leaning towards this direction. You could tell. And Navarrete said last year that he was supposed to win the belt from Baranchik, and then he was supposed to fight Lomachenko, and I guess those other 135 guys, they were expecting those guys to fight by now. And it just didn't happen. No unifications happened. I felt like if no unifications would happen by now, it was a good chance Loma was going to retire. At 37, is he going to try to go around and get every belt right now? No, it kind of hurts other guys' legacy too, because if you're not how do I say this? If you don't have Lomachenko on your resume and Tiafimo and Haney does, That's kind of why the buzz was so big for that fight, because those are the only two guys around that age who got a win over Lomachenko. So the rest of these guys like Shakur, Keyshawn, Tank, they're not gonna have a Lomachenko on their resume. It's gonna be kind of crazy to think about, but I knew it was a good possibility. He said something tells me that Miritai will wait Keyshawn out. Mason probably will get that WBO when Key move up. No, I think that it's gonna be a situation where Top Rank probably gonna try to add somebody in with Miritai on the fight at 135. Either somebody on Top Rank or around 135. Might even be a 130. Never know. They might try to do some Navarrete stuff again. After that next fight he has with the Suarez guy. But I think Mason or Keyshawn Davis will get that fight. I actually got some news coming about that next. Miritai said he's not gonna wait out Keyshawn and he's not ducking him. He actually said that last night about people saying that he was gonna wait him out. But he said that he wasn't trying to wait him out though. From what I've heard, they were expecting Lomachenko to get in the ring with Miritai in October. If that don't happen, they'll possibly move on with the Keyshawn Davis situation. But yeah, Top Rank definitely will be willing to do those fights in house. So whatever they can do in house, if it's Keyshawn, Miritai, yeah, they'll definitely do those fights. They'll do an in-house fight before they do one, I mean, the fight they're doing right now is not in-house with Keyshawn, but the next one or the one after that, it definitely could be. Because the last one was. Yeah, so they got some kind of understanding going on. I wouldn't be surprised if De Los Santos goes out there. Let's just say De Los Santos get an upset this weekend. I'm pretty sure Top Rank already had discussions like, hey, make sure if y'all get that belt, then come see us if we want to do a unification or something. Because I don't know if other people are willing to do a unification right now. They already haven't done it up until this point, so I think the only thing I can expect is an in-house fight, unless these fighters request certain fights like Keyshawn's doing with De Los Santos. But yeah, Loma, he's kind of wore himself out already. Him trying to jump in and out. When the war stuff happened, when he went out there for the war and everything, I knew right then his career was not going to be the same, because he's a guy who was already moving up to 35. So as soon as you're adjusting your body to 35 and get comfortable, you start taking a year off. It just doesn't work. It's almost the same thing that like Charlo was doing or has been doing. It's just not a good strategy, man. And Lomachenko, it just led to retirement. Has he done enough in boxing? I mean, up to the standards that everybody else has, you definitely can say that. But because he did fight Teofimo Haney, give him credit for that. He didn't fight the other younger guys, but yeah, people didn't fight him either though. The guys who did get in the ring with him, it's gonna mean a lot to their resumes. Yeah, people say it was a duck between him fighting Tank, but Tank said that he felt like Lomachenko wasn't ducking. He wasn't scared of him. He said Lomachenko wasn't scared. He wasn't ducking. Which at this point you got to believe that, because the dude ain't boxing no more. And I just think the plan that they had just didn't go up the way they expected. If he had a real back injury, I mean that makes sense too. But he said if Edwin get that belt, Shakur would shift to him immediately. In my opinion, the storyline there, and we know Edwin won't drag his feet to make that fight. Yeah, they're gonna have to pay though. If they pull up that fight with him and Shakur, they're gonna have to pay. And I don't think Shakur is. I mean, he would take that fight, but I don't think he's just like invested in that fight to chase down Edwin. Though I don't think he would be invested. It's so many names out there. It would be kind of hard to tell if he would. Now, if he beats Keyshawn, yeah, I think he would. He would look at it. He would definitely look at it. But top rank, I feel like they'll come between that and try to make a deal with him and Miritai. You know what I'm saying? Because Miritai would have the belt. They would lean towards that direction. Unless you could be right, because unless they want to keep those belts away and be like, let's not risk losing this belt. We already lost the one with Keyshawn, so yeah, if they do that, yeah. They'll probably just let him go with Shakur Stevenson then. He would be the only option as far as the unification. They say Tank Davis was a if Lamont Roach wouldn't have fought Tank, they said De Los Santos was the next option. So that was a situation, but since that's not been something that's been talked about since, Shakur would be the only option at that point. He would be the only option. That was something we were talking about last night too, I think. He would be the only option though. Kind of right. For some reason though, I feel like Shakur would go to 140 first. But then he said recently he's not leaving 135 until he unifies or something. Something like that. He made a commitment not to leave 135, so just to leave. It would have to be a mega fight. Yeah, just to leave, that wouldn't make sense. But yeah, 135 needs to make some noise for the rest of the year like they're doing now. Was Zepeda and Shakur, and then De Los Santos and Keyshawn Davis. If they can make some noise these next couple of fights, yeah, I think 135 would be all right. They're starting to mix it up. It's just a lot of guys from 135 been going to 140. So a lot of these fights been getting away. Like Pitbull at 40 instead of 35. It's crazy. And Rayo, think he's going back to 35. So that would be a situation. I wonder if Edwin would ever because he was trying to fight Rayo again last year. I wonder would he ever look at a Rayo fight again, even though he already stopped him. If he was a champion, wouldn't really make any sense. Yeah, if Edwin was if he gets the belt, he's gonna have a lot of options. He fights so many people that I don't know. I think it would go towards the money. How much money is being offered for certain situations. But yeah, I can see him and Shakur Stevenson fighting again. That'd be a good storyline. That is true. That would be true. Now, if he loses this weekend, we're gonna be back to the square one with Keyshawn and Shakur again. But yeah, Lomachenko has officially retired, man. This guy has hung it up. Been boxing for a long time. And If I just go look at his resume, would a lot of people be satisfied with his career? 21 fights. I got some good names on here. Yeah, got some good names, but could have been a lot better, man. You think it'd be Ryo rematch? Yeah, they did try to do that fight last year. Yeah, they had so many names of De Los Santos recently that it's like that's why I was bringing up De Los Santos' name last year because I was like, even though he did lose to Shakur, I felt like he was still gonna be in the picture if Loma is not in the picture. And it's kind of crazy that Loma retires the week of Keisha and De Los Santos fight because a lot of people were saying De Los Santos just lost. Yeah, he did just lose, but a lot of his peers and boxers in the boxing game still have a lot of respect for his skills and power. Then you have guys coming out saying that he's punching just as hard as Tank, so gotta respect that. But if he lose the yeah, it'll probably be Ryo next. If he lose, I would definitely like to see that fight. Yeah, he got a lot of options, but man, 135, 140 with Lomachenko leaving, it's gonna be crazy. A lot more guys gonna be able to move around now and get things done. I think Loma should have hung it up last year though. Yeah, it don't hit like that. Like yeah, like Morrell losing to Benavidez, it's not really that bad. Uh yeah, when the best fight the best, it's not really a big deal. Yeah, the best fighting the best is really not a big deal, man. It's really not. That's why this year I just been kind of enjoying it. You know what I'm saying? Not really too invested into it. Even when people was complaining about the Times Square fights, I was just enjoying it because it's been a while since we've seen that many guys on the same card like we have been recently. But yeah, man, Lomachenko definitely. What has he done to change the game? I mean, he gave Haney an opportunity to fight and uh Teofimo at a young age. So I mean, I guess that's a good thing. But I'm gonna be real with you though. With his resume the way it is right now, he needs like one or two more fights on there to be like at that complete status. I think Loma's probably like one or two fights away. But taking those years off and all that time off, it adds up. Yep, he looked at the landscape and said, "Nope, too many power punches at 135. Too many power punches." It seemed like he wanted to wait out a couple of guys to see if they was gonna go to 140. Yeah, he like, "I'm good on these." What's up? Shout out to Vic J. Yeah, Loma said, "I'm good on these. I ain't fighting none of these guys." Yeah, too much time in the amateurs. Too much time. Way too much time. I think the thing that hurt him the most was him just taking all this time off. Keep taking time off in your 30s. Um, since Loma's been 30, he was 30 in what year? I want to say 2018. He was 30. So since the age of 30, he's been fighting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he's only fought about 9 times in the last 7 years. Yeah, so he been hot dogging it for a minute. Yeah, he's been hot dogging it for a minute, man. Yeah, he seen Edwin. He was like, "Nah, I'm good." They got the Dos Santos guy down there. They got the Cepeda guy. He's kind of difficult. He's not Luke Campbell. Uh, Even Tevin Farmer. If I fight him, that's gonna be difficult. You seen the guy Cepeda just struggled with him. I'm gonna be real with you guys, man. Lomachenko beating Gary Russell is probably the best win he has because that put him on pound for pound status. Like that put him on pound for pound. So that's definitely his best win. Yep. That's why Bob said, "Hey man, give me Abdullah Mason." Bob Arum said, "Give me Mirtai, give me Keyshawn Davis." Yeah, I'm done with these guys. Give me Shaqy Foster. These guys like he likes Valdez. Valdez a dog, but him and Navarrete don't look the same, especially at 30 and 35. Stay away from those weight classes. Yeah, Lomachenko retiring definitely doesn't help a lot of people. This is kind of bad for Teofimo right now. I'm telling you why. His best 2 wins are Lomachenko and Josh Taylor. Lomachenko just retired at 37. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, Ukrainian fighters usually don't retire at the age of 37. Just usually doesn't happen. When you're Ukrainian, Russian, those guys usually try to make it to 40. And then we got to realize too, Lomachenko is one of the. This is why Terrence Crawford doing what he's doing is could make him an all-time great, one of the best ever. Because Lomachenko saying he's too old, and Terrence Crawford's going to be saying that he's old enough or not. He's young enough to beat Canelo. They're the same age, so he's young enough to beat Canelo. But Lomachenko is too old. That's why I said the skills and everything is good, but yeah, when you got to have those real dog 50-50 fights, like a fight with Majramov right now. If they had a Majramov type of guy at 135, Lomachenko would probably lose that fight right now. Fighting at 37 is not easy. People have to realize this. You see, man, I'm telling you, it's a lot of guys getting around 35, 36, 37. Like, oh man, I'm finna hang it up. That's why I said what Terrence Crawford is doing right now, none of these guys will be able to do. It's crazy because now Lomachenko's not even gonna get Turkey on the sheet money. He said, I can't believe T.O. was doing this, but I thought he did Devin back when he picked Kambosos over him. That backfired. Yeah, it did. Lost a lot of money too. He lost $11 million then. He lost $11 million then, and he lost $11 million recently. So for some reason, he just keep missing out on $11 million, but he keep losing, and he's putting on bad performances. You see, I think this Keyshawn last fight at 135, T.O. not holding it down at 140 and Bob about to force T.O. hand for that belt. Now Bob has already forced T.O. hand when he tried to put that Brian Norman Jr. fight together at 147. And then he turned around and tried to put him in the ring with Matias. So Teofimo already knows that. He turned down Matias and Brian Norman Jr. He was like, nah. I was like, nah, he ain't trying to do nothing. because they were trying to set him up for a fight with Boots. You gotta understand. Everybody talking about, yeah, Boots ain't gonna fight him because he ain't got a belt. Yeah, that's because Teofimo didn't want to fight Brian Norman Jr. So everything is Teofimo's fault right now. Even if people bring up Boots Ennis not fighting Tio. Tio was supposed to fight Brian Norman Jr. last year, like last October, September or something, for the belt. So he would have had the belt already and fought Boots for a unification. That's why I said this dude has been offered every fight in boxing. It's time for guys like Keyshawn Davis to spread their wings and get the same opportunities that that Teofimo is getting. It's other fighters that's gonna get the same opportunities as Teofimo Lopez, and they won't drop the ball, and they're not gonna make an excuse. You hear guys like Stephen Fulton, he don't say, "Oh, I'm not finna go to Japan to fight anyway." Goes over there and fights him, and that's the best win anyway got on his resume. But you know who they'll pick on pound for pound? Teofimo. Don't want to go to Saudi Arabia. Don't want to go to Australia. The man is telling everybody, if I don't stay home, they're gonna rob me, which is crazy. That's literally what he's telling everybody. Hey man, if I don't stay home, they're gonna rob me, dog. I'm not gonna get a decision. It's gonna be a wrap. That's actually embarrassing. Yeah, that's actually embarrassing. But yeah, it's a lot of smoke, man. A lot of these guys know that these weight classes. He said, "Lost to your backyard." Oh, the zone. Yeah, he don't want to fight on the zone, bro. That's the thing about it. He don't want to fight on the zone like that. Even though he just fought on the zone, he don't want to fight on the zone. Dude scared. He said that a year ago. He's like, I don't want to fight on the zone, man. I got robbed on the Cambosos fight. I'm like, robbed? Why does it? Why does this guy keep saying he got robbed in the Cambosos fight? I think that's the biggest problem. I said like a year and a half ago when everybody was saying that he got robbed by Cambosos and they was letting TL say that. He just created a storyline in his mind now. He feel like he won that fight. He felt like he had a knockdown in the fight. One at the beginning, the end. He felt like he had a Sandor Martin fight. Yeah, it was bad, man. Yeah, to Cambosos is crazy. I can't believe that gets overlooked. That getting overlooked is insane. Sometimes I question, like, bro, man, you know what the man had said? He said, "Hey John," he said, last year he said that Cambosos didn't take a PED test after they fought, and Sandor Martin didn't either, or something like that. I forgot what he said. Something like that. It was something about the PED test at the hospital or something. Whatever they was talking about. I was like, what is he talking about? He tried to use that like, man, maybe they was using something. I'm like, oh, I thought PEDs didn't matter. Yeah, De Los Santos, he was actually going to move up to 140. If he wasn't going to fight Keyshawn, he was going to try to fight. They was talking about Frank Martin versus him at 140. I think the fight versus him and Rayo was going to be at 35, I think, last year. But yeah, they was talking about fights with De Los Santos at 140. If he loses, he's going to 40. If he wins, I think he'll stay at 35. Can't move around without that belt. Think he'll stay at 35. But he's gonna try to take the biggest fight for the biggest money though. I don't think he's gonna have a lot of fights at 35. He's been sitting out for a while too. And De Los Santos been kind of quiet the last week or two. So he's trying to make sure he gets that weight off without any worries. I guess they have a press conference today, so we'll see. Hey, I got that. Let me pull it up. Hey, John, I forgot I had that on my computer. Hey, this dude John's hilarious, man. Oh, I gotta update it. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why I always gotta update this thing. Yeah, I forgot I had that soundbite on here. That is hilarious. But yeah, man, Lomachenko hanging it up this early is um I would say it's not a good look. The only reason why is because I feel like there's more names around his weight class in this generation than it was probably 8 years ago. And now that those weight classes have finally started to get a lot stronger, it's like now he's saying, "Nah, I don't want any trouble. I don't like that." Because with Crawford, he's doing the opposite. Crawford is literally in the same position as Lomachenko, around the same age. They in the same position. They was both with top rank. One guy's left top rank to have bigger fights. And no disrespect, but even Canelo's kind of left the nest. This man has sat up under Bob Arum for too long. Like, man, it's time to move on. Yeah, Tito Machado, he the real deal. He reminds me of Tiafimo. He reminds me of Tiafimo. But the only reason I would even compare him to Tiafimo is because he's still getting better. I feel like Tiafimo is the same guy who fought Lomachenko. I'm dead serious. Like even Lamont Roach, we've seen get better. We've seen certain fighters not get better, and most of those guys are guys who just mostly knock people out. They're not going out there outboxing a lot of people, so they able to cover up a lot of mistakes. But oh yeah, this is what John talking about right here. John crazy. That's a T.O. soundbite. That's hilarious, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Yeah, John, you're hilarious. I forgot I had that. I be telling people we be coming up with these sound bites on the spot. They don't be understanding that. These sound bites be on the spot. But yeah, the only thing that really worries me about Lomachenko, I'm gonna be honest with you. Somebody said this yesterday. Every time he steps up, he loses. And the guy was really people say he was a small 135. He was literally already at 135 when he came into the pros. It's just that he wanted to go down a weight class because he seen what was at 135. Terrence Crawford was at 135 when he came into the pros. And he didn't want any trouble with a guy like Terrence Crawford. He just did it. He didn't want any trouble. Could Lomachenko have fought Terrence Crawford? Absolutely. Did he want to? No. That's why he said, "Nah, Terrence Crawford's number one, pound for pound." That's not an alpha male to me. You know what I'm saying? It's not an alpha male. He was being truthful, but you're Lomachenko gold medalist and had almost 400 wins in your amateur career, which is unheard of, and you don't want to fight Terrence Crawford. Just felt like because a lot of people said, "Well, Gamboa, he's a small guy." Okay, Loma's a small guy too. That's more respect for Gamboa. Yeah, with the amateur back record, I mean, you probably have to. But it's like in the pros, first ballot. I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know. Because when you really look at his resume, Rigondeaux was so small, bro. Rigondeaux was literally like a 118. He was like whatever Bam Rodriguez is right now. So like Bam fighting Lomachenko right now, that would look crazy. But yeah, that's basically what that was. Then he had the Nicholas Walters. You gotta understand this too. When he fought Nicholas Walters was beating guys up bad. But I think the media made that a big win though. What's up, Abdul? Yeah, pro career, I don't think so, man. I think him losing to Haney and Tiafimo recently, that was bad. He did stop Kambosos. But I think he need like 2 more wins on there where it was like guys who's because usually when you beat somebody in this generation, usually when you beat somebody like when Floyd beat Canelo, he's gonna keep fighting and prove how difficult that fight was. And Loma really doesn't have a fight on his resume where he can prove, how difficult somebody was. Because even with Gary Russell, they be talking so bad about him. It's like I'm not finna give no. To me, that was a good win, but the fans they talk so bad about Gary Russell, they actually want to give Lomachenko credit for that win. No, sir. You can't call somebody a bum and then say, "Oh, well, that was a good fighter." That's how you know these guys be lying about resumes, bro. I'm telling you. Ask these guys about their favorite fighter. Find a fighter on their resume they don't like, and ask them, "Hey, did you give this guy credit for beating him?" "Oh yeah, that was a good fight." So they give Lomachenko credit for beating Gary Russell, and that's a fact. Don't let nobody lie to you. They got him on pound for pound, and he stayed there because of that fight. They be like, Why is Loma on pound for pound?" "Oh, he beat Gary. He beat Gary Russell." Yeah, so these people know how to break down resumes. Yeah, he had no business fighting Walters. And Walters a big dude. You see how big Walters is right now? Shoot, Walters look like he about the same size he was back then. Yeah, he looked like he was about the same size back then. I think Walters got fooled though because he went from Nonito, then you going to Lomachenko. Lomachenko was already a guy who was 30, 35. Yeah, PBC, man. PBC that these guys don't be putting the fights together like that. And then after his dad passed away, he just fell back. His dad was already having health issues last was it 4 or 5 years ago. So last 4 or 5 years with him, yeah, it wasn't that's when his brother started to fight a little bit more. So yeah, he fell back a little bit. Hasn't fought since the McSayal fight. Yeah, PBC got a lot of guys like that, man. Like even Elijah Garcia, who knocked out the guy that Caleb Plant lost to this weekend. This dude been so inactive. They try to stick him in a ring with a tough guy after being out like a year. They've been destroying fighters like that. Usyk is what a lot of fans want Loma to be. Yep. They thought Loma was gonna be better than Usyk. They thought Loma was gonna be better than Usyk. That's something that a lot of people don't talk about, Jay. They thought Loma was gonna be a greater fighter than Usyk. They didn't think Usyk was gonna be as great as he is right now. That's why the media is kind of behind on that. The media won't tell you, but every time Usyk has fought a top name, they've expected him to lose. With the Joshua situation and Fury, they expected him to lose each time. Even against Chisora, they felt like he possibly could have lost. Yeah, that's true though. They thought that because in America, a lot of people was already talking about Usyk while they were talking about Loma. Everybody's like, "Man, look at what Usyk's doing at cruiserweight." Yeah, so they know what time it is. He said Ukraine's put out a lot of good fighters outside of Baranchik. Yeah, they have. Yeah, they put out a lot of good fighters. Yeah, they got a lot of good fighters. But yeah, they thought that it's crazy because Lomachenko was on pound for pound his whole career. Basically was at the top most of his career. And you never seen Usyk up there. Undisputed, all that. He never was up there. They always had somebody else up there. It was always Inoue. Like the fact that Inoue was up there before Usyk was, that shows you how much they don't like the guy. Telling you. Look at when they start. Look at the old pound for pound list, and look at where they had these guys' names at, and who was above them. I know at one point, shoot, Triple G was like top 5. He was probably ranked higher than what they had Usyk after Usyk beat Joshua. So yeah, they never wanted to put Usyk ahead of a guy like Loma, but just was forced to do it. Loma was the chosen one, like for real. A lot of people don't understand it, but they chose him to be the best of the best, creme de la creme. But he's not that, bro. Like Terrence Crawford is the best fighter of this generation that came from Top Rank. And the way that Shakur Stevenson is moving, he can eventually have a better resume than what Loma has. If you put about 5 good names on your resume right now, top guys, especially guys who's like medalists and pound for pound and undisputed, you're gonna have a better resume than what Loma had. That's why I said the last generation kind of cheated us. I'm not gonna put pressure on a lot of these young guys like other people are doing right now because they didn't put much pressure on Loma and all these other guys. And you don't have to put pressure on a lot of these young fighters these days. They already are kind of aligning themselves with other rivals. But yeah, Lomachenko definitely knows that this is the end though. It's too many guys at 135, man. Too many guys. Even Pitbull said last year, he was like, I didn't leave 135 because it's too tough. So he already knew that the rumor out there was that 135 was too tough. He was like, I know 135 tough, but I'm not running for 135. So according to Pitbull, a lot of these other guys is running for 135 and 140. And I can agree with that. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. A lot of people are moving from 135, and it's a good thing if you can still have good fights at 140. But if you're moving for no odd reason, but yeah, it's a lot of news coming out though. And then they had news about Miritai and Keyshawn, so I think that's going to be the thing that Top Rank leans towards next. You don't really have no fights on Top Rank for Keyshawn right now, besides a guy like Miritai. If I'm not mistaken, that would be the only fights you would actually have. Let me see. Let me go to weight classes. I already had Baranchik. Yeah, Miritai is probably the only fight he would have around there. Yeah, 140, they got a lot of names. So they still got T.O., Elvis Rodriguez, Emiliano Vargas. I don't know how long Vargas gonna sit there at 140 before because with Shakur and Keyshawn move up, they're gonna have to make a decision. That's gonna have to be a fight they're gonna have to eventually talk about. And I'm gonna tell you why. The real reason why a lot of T.O. gets praised a lot is because he was able to beat Loma at 23. And a lot of these guys now are like 22, 23. And we want to see somebody do the same thing that he did. Be the top guy at 23 years old. Yeah, that's definitely what we want to see. But yeah, man, I appreciate everybody for coming through. I just want to come on here, get this news out about Loma real quick, man. It's definitely been a whirlwind for him in his career, but the man has finally stepped up though. Finally stepped up and admitted that he's ready to hang it up. It's been a lot of rumors out here for a while, but I'm glad we're finally moving on, man. And I'm be honest with you guys too. There's too many fighters out here dragging out retirements. Like, bro, either hang it up or not. I don't think in the past we had a lot of guys deciding in the open, like, hey, let's wait on this. Probably behind the scenes. I know technology is different now. We have social media, so information gets out faster. But like people say on the t-shirts and the quotes people have, you don't play boxing. Even Lomachenko knows that. So you got to make a decision on if you're really all the way in or just not. The only thing that confused me was him coming back to fight Kambosos. It was like, what was the reason behind that? If you weren't going to keep going. So I told people they had a plan and it didn't go through. But I appreciate everybody for coming through, man, and stream. I'll be back on later on.